Welcome back, Brooklyn Nets fans. I don't think I've talked to you guys since Jock Vaughn got fired, which was 6 games ago now, so a very long time. My apologies. But the Nets are playing better basketball recently. They've won 3 of 4, overall 24 and 36 on the year. They just played the Hawks in a back-to-back, which I think we pretty much knew was some must-win games. The Nets are right behind the Hawks in standings for the final play-in spot, and Trae Young is pretty much out for, I wouldn't say the entire year, but he's out for probably at least another month with that finger injury. So the Nets take care of business, and they looked good doing it. I mean, once again, Atlanta is not some special team nowadays, but the Nets won 124-97 on Thursday. And last night, or yesterday afternoon, it was a 3 o'clock game, which is weird. But yesterday afternoon, they won 114 to 102. And Mikal Bridges had 38 points in that game. Cam Johnson had 29 points on Thursday. So we're finally getting a good version of the Twins, as they're called. And we've been waiting for a while for Cam Johnson to really break out. And it's finally happening. Like, I feel like he's playing with much more confidence. He's definitely playing his best defense of the entire season. And I'll get to that because I feel like Kevin Ollie, there wasn't much the guy can do, right? We know what the roster is. It's not that talented. But you can tell under Kevin Ollie here, this team is starting to develop a defensive identity. Like, this team had no identity in the first, the Jock Vaughn era, I'll call it, right? Their identity was to just basically try and be a transition team, push the ball, shoot threes, but there wasn't much of a defensive identity. Like, they had good players. They had Nick Claxton, who was a great defender. Mikal Bridges was advertised to be a great defender when he came here. Cam Johnson was supposed to be a pretty good defender. They had guys that could play defense, but we were just not seeing it. It was just very frustrating. But now it seems like everybody is like bought in, and they're just playing better defense. They're switching. The communication has been much, much better. The on-ball defense has been way more intense, and they're doing a good job. And I think Vince Carter pointed this out on the broadcast. They're doing a good job of letting Nick Claxton take care of business down low. Like, they're not fouling guys driving to the basket. Like, they're impacting them enough where Nick Claxton can get over and block a shot, which he's been doing a great job of lately. So it seems like right now they have things pretty figured out defensively, but how much of that is, it's the Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young, and how much of that is like, oh my God, the Nets are just such a great defensive team? I don't know. It's probably somewhere in the middle. But luckily for the Nets, they do have a pretty reasonable schedule coming up. I mean, we'll just look at it now. I usually do this at the end, but we'll look at it now. Memphis Grizzlies, the Sixers without Embiid, at Detroit, at Charlotte. So 4 games where I think are very winnable. 3 of them especially, right? Maybe the Sixers a bit tougher, okay. Then they're at Cleveland, that's tough. At Orlando versus Indiana. Okay, tougher games, especially at Cleveland, but still. Versus San Antonio, that's, I would say, a must-win game. I mean, yeah, you would have to win that game. And then it gets a bit tougher after that. But still, I mean, like, to close out the year, even after, like, they have a tough stretch of 3 games, then after that it gets a bit, softer. But the point is, I mean, there's a lot of winnable games here. And with the Hawks kind of, like, just not playing well, the Hawks right now are 4-6 in their past 10 games. The Nets are the same way. But it feels like the Hawks, ever since the Trae Young injury, have not been that good of a team. I mean, they're not that good in general. So there's a real chance the Nets can get that 10 seed. So, it's not the definition of a successful season. I think this team had higher expectations than the freaking 10 seed, but it is right there for them. They're still 2.5, or they're 2 games up on the Raptors, who are the 12 seed, and they've been playing much better lately. But the Nets right now are just 2 games back of the Hawks. So it is possible, and they're 4 games back of the Chicago Bulls for the 9 seed, which it's not much of a difference, 9 or 10. I think 9 gets to host the game, and 10 plays on the road, but you still have to win 2 games to get in the playoffs if you're 9 or 10, so it's not that much of a difference. The big difference would be get to the 8 seed, but that's not happening. I mean, right now, the Pacers have I think it's a 9.5 game lead on the Nets, which, yeah, that's not happening, sorry. But yeah, this team has been looking better lately, I gotta say. I mean, it was funny because Mikal Bridges, to start out yesterday, looked horrible. He had a possession where he might have got fouled, but he had this awful layup attempt where it hit the top of the backboard, and then on the same possession, he airballed a 3 in the corner. And then, like, a play later, he had a finger roll on a fast break and missed the layup. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's playing like crap. And I even had, like, this kind of kind of a douchey tweet on my part. I kind of quoted what the reports have been, like, Nets want to build around Mikal Bridges, and I put like his lowlights in that video. But I'll admit, the man shut me up, and I should have known because Mikal Bridges always dominates this team, the Atlanta Hawks. Like, when Mikal plays the Heat and the Hawks, he looks like he is, 2006 Kobe Bryant. Like, he looks amazing. So, gotta give him credit. The guy had 38 points yesterday, and he was so freaking good in the second half. He had that awesome 2-for-1 play where he pulled up from 3, and then he did like the ice tray celebration right to Trae Young, which is pretty funny. And I know Trae Young quote tweeted him and kind of did like the laughing emoji and the middle finger emoji. So hey, maybe there's a little friendship there with Mikal Bridges and Trae Young. Who knows? Who's talking about that? Not me. But yeah, you never know. Like, maybe Trae Young is a guy who could be traded in the offseason. There's been some rumors about that. So we'll see. But anyway, we'll go through some of the performances yesterday. Dorian Finney-Smith, he looks like he's playing a different role offensively. He just looks way more aggressive. Usually he's just a guy who catches the ball, does a pump fake, and if it's not there, he'll just, pull it back out. But it seems like now he's doing more cutting. He had a dunk on like the first basket of the game yesterday. It was very nice. He was shooting the ball a bit better. Like, mostly for him, his only shots are 3-point attempts, but he had 4 other attempts in this game that were 2-point shots. So Finney-Smith is not only being used more inside the perimeter, which is nice, but he also had 5 assists yesterday. So he's making good passes. He's being more of a 3-level scorer. I wouldn't say 3, but a 2-level scorer at the basket at the 3-point line. So they're using him in different ways, and he was a plus 19 yesterday. Wow. So he was really good. Then you had Cam Johnson, who I mentioned on the beginning of this video, has been playing much better defense since Kevin Ollie's been here. He was 6 of 12, 4 of 7 from 3, a perfect 7 for 7 at the free throw line, 23 points. I believe this was Cam Johnson's first back-to-back 20-point games of the entire year, which is not good, but still, I'm happy he's doing it now as compared to not doing it at all. It's funny, I think Cam Johnson just turned 28 today, or yesterday, so happy birthday to Cam, but I remember seeing a stat from last year. He had Cam Johnson went on this crazy run in early March of last year, and he's doing this again in early March of this year. So maybe there's something about him playing well around his birthday. I don't know. I just hope this sticks because I like this version of Cam Johnson way more. I feel like he's been on the floor getting loose balls. He's a different guy. I do like this version of him way more. Mikal Bridges was 14 of 26, so pretty good efficiency. 5 of 10 from 3, that's great. 5 of 5 at the line. 38 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He had that great steal. I remember there was the possession where he was complaining about a no call, and the possession later he played the passing lane, got a great steal, got a layup. So he was awesome. Mikal Bridges, great game for him. Played 39 minutes though, which is a ton. Nick Claxton played 34 minutes, went 6 of 9. He had 13 rebounds, 4 assists, and that's the thing as well. He had 2 steals and 2 blocks. But I wanted to mention how the Nets are using their centers in a different role as well. So Nick Claxton, as I just mentioned, had 4 assists. Day'Ron Sharpe, I think in either the last game or was it this past game? I forget when it was now. But Day'Ron Sharpe had 1 assist. But I think Day'Ron Sharpe in the last game on Thursday had 4 or 5 assists. And one of those should have been another one, but Jalen Wilson missed that wide open layup. But the point is, they're using their centers in a much different way as compared to when Jacque Vaughn was here. It seems like with Kevin Ollie, the Nets are putting the ball in Day'Ron's hands and Nick Claxton's hands right above the foul line, and they're kind of letting them just analyze the floor. And it's great for spacing because the center's out of the paint, so that's great. The whole paint is open, and it allows the 4 other guys to cut to the basket. And you're seeing it, that Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe are finding the open cutters. And, guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, whoever, Mikal Bridges, are benefiting from that. It's getting a guy out of the paint. It's opening up everything. And you're letting your centers be a guy who can distribute the ball. And it's been working out. So, hey, shout out to Kevin Ollie for letting those guys do that. But, yeah, Claxton was good yesterday. He had some amazing blocks, had that great block coming over from the weak side. So that was awesome. Pinned it against the backboard. Dennis Schroeder has been playing much better as well. He's had back-to-back really nice games. He had 14 points, 8 assists. He had 2 blocks as well. So look at Dennis Schroeder. But 3 of 4 from 3. He was 4 of 13 overall, so his 2-point shot was not working. But, he's been playing better lately. I'll give him credit. I feel like Dennis Schroeder in the Nets home games has been great. He made that debut in the home game versus the Spurs. I was at that game. He was awesome. We all know that, his debut game. But in his home games as a Net, Schroeder's been amazing. So I hope it just continues in the road games as well. Not much from Watford. He played 2 minutes. Jalen Wilson, who, by the way, got extended a 3-year deal. So shout out to Jalen Wilson. And Jalen Wilson should have probably been extended a long time ago, but better late than never. But yeah, a 3-year deal for Jalen Wilson. Congrats to him. He was 1 of 2 from 3, 1 of 3 overall. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Playing intense defense. It was good defense from him. I feel like there was a lineup where him and Day'Ron Sharpe were playing together. I believe this was the second quarter. Jalen Wilson and Day'Ron Sharpe on the offensive boards together is such a great duo. Because these guys, like Day'Ron Sharpe, it makes sense. Day'Ron Sharpe is like 6'9", 6'10", and he's a big guy. But Jalen Wilson is not that much. He's not that big of a guy, right? Jalen Wilson's what, like 6'5" or something? Like, he's not that big. But Jalen Wilson is such a good rebounder for his size. And him and Day'Ron are so good on the offensive boards. So when those two play together, it is hell for a defensive rebounding team to out-rebound those guys. So I love when they play together. Hopefully Kevin Ollie realizes that and keeps that duo playing together. Keita Bates-Diop played 2 minutes, did nothing. Seems like he's not a guy that's part of the rotation since the trade, is what it is. Day'Ron Sharpe, 14 minutes, 2 of 4. He actually made 2 threes in the game on Thursday. I didn't talk about that. He made 2 threes on Thursday. This game was a bit closer, so he didn't really have like the ability to do what he wants. This was too close of a game to just start chucking threes. But Day'Ron had 5 rebounds, 3 offensive and 2 defensive rebounds, 2 blocks, so he had some nice blocks as well. Dennis Smith Jr., 21 minutes. He was 1 of 6, made a 3-pointer from the corner. 6 rebounds and 6 assists. He's one of those guys who was always kind of like low-key flirting with a triple-double. Only had 3 points, though, so he still was not close there. Lonnie Walker, only 11 minutes. Kind of surprising. He just had an off game. He was 1 of 7, 0 of 3 from downtown. I guess Kevin Ollie saw, like, hey, he doesn't have it tonight or today, and he just didn't play him much. So that's a coach feeling out the game, which I like. That was one of the things about Jacque Vaughn I did not like. Jacque Vaughn, no matter how well or how bad guys were playing, Jacque Vaughn always had set rotations. Like, Nick Claxton's coming out of the game with 7 minutes left, and we're putting in Day'Ron with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Like, he always had like these weird, just set rotations. He had no feel for the game. I feel like with Kevin Ollie, maybe there is a bit of a feel for the game, and you see that with Lonnie Walker playing 11 minutes as compared to, I forget what he played the last game. I want to look it up real quickly. But it was 11 minutes this game. And in the game on Thursday, it was 16 minutes. In the game at Orlando, it was 21 minutes. So, Lonnie does not have like any set minutes right now. It's kind of just based on how he's playing, which is great to see. Like, I want to see a coach do that. So we went through everybody there. There is the injury to Cam Thomas. It was the foot sprain / ankle sprain. He's in a boot, and it does not look that good. Even Vince Carter said yesterday on the broadcast, like, a foot sprain is very painful. So, I don't know. The Nets have made no announcement for how long Cam Thomas is out for, but I feel like they might be hiding something. Like, it might be longer than we think it is, which is a damn shame, because Cam had such a good year this year. I believe he's averaging over 20 points per game. He has a 20.9 per game. So it would really suck if Cam was out for the year. But this is me speculating. The Nets have not said this. It's me speculating, so don't get like too crazy about it. But Cam played 48 games this year, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But hopefully he comes back at some point in the next few games, and we'll see. But for Ben Simmons, he's a guy who he had the leg soreness. It's been weird, as usual. Like, they can't get the injury right. So he had leg soreness. He missed a couple games. Then it was called knee soreness, and I think he's missed 3 straight games now. So, it's just the usual with Ben Simmons. It sucks. I have no hope for this guy at this point. And, he is on an expiring contract after this year, thank God. So maybe the Nets can get off of that contract, but it's just been so frustrating with him. It really has. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but at a certain point, it's like, come on, like we gotta move on here. But he got hurt in that game at Minnesota, which was last Saturday, and he came back and played versus Memphis 2 days later, only 14 minutes. But since that game at Memphis, which was last Monday, he has not played. So I don't know how long he'll be out for. I don't know how serious this is, but with Ben Simmons, anything is possible. So I feel bad for him. But anyway, once again, this team has a pretty reasonable, easy schedule coming up. They play Memphis on Monday, back-to-back versus the Sixers on Tuesday, which will be tough. Thursday at Detroit, Saturday at Charlotte. So you have 4 games where they can realistically go 3-1. If they somehow go 4-0, that's fantastic. If they go 4-0, they'll probably be like tied with the Hawks. Like, they'll be right there for that 10 seed. So that'd be awesome. They have some tough games coming up after that, but to close out the year, it's not crazy hard. Like, you're going to have Washington, Toronto, Chicago, home versus the Lakers. Like, okay, not terrible. Back-to-back versus Indiana. They've been like, They haven't been that great lately, I feel like. Detroit, Sacramento's tough, obviously, but it's, going from west to east. That might be a tough road trip for them. Versus Toronto, at the Knicks, and at Philly to close out the year. So it's not that bad. Like, they really could close out the year above 500, which would be great. We'll see what happens, though. It's going to be interesting. But I just want to watch good basketball. I've been enjoying these last 2 games a lot. I know there's no chance at a championship for this team this year, but to just watch better basketball and not go out and lose by 40 and 50 points, it's nice to see, Like, the games versus Boston, then you had that Toronto loss and Ollie's debut, the game at Minnesota where they kept it close, and then once Ben Simmons went out, the entire thing fell apart. So, the loss versus Orlando, at Orlando on Tuesday, that was a tough loss as well. But 3 of their past 4 games, they've won by a lot. They beat Memphis by a lot. They beat Atlanta back-to-back by a good amount. So, it's been weird. Kevin Ollie's had no close games yet, so I'm kind of interested to see what Kevin Ollie does in crunch time and how he handles things. But so far, we have not seen a close game yet. So maybe we'll see it Monday. If not, maybe Tuesday versus the Sixers is probably more realistic. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, 24-36 record, just 2 games out of the final play-in spot. We'll see if they can get it. I'll try and talk to you guys maybe after the Sixers game on Tuesday. If not, maybe after that Pistons game on Thursday. We'll see what happens. But hopefully when I talk to you guys, they win 2 in a row, 3 in a row. We'll see what happens. But hope you guys enjoy the video. Of course, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.